I'm Hannah and this is Liberty Gourmand. Today I want to introduce you to my channel and the concepts behind it. There will also be a cooking segment at the end, so if you only want to see cooking, go to the end. I'm going to make a much more economical, organic, tasty plant milk at the end of the show. This channel is primarily a cooking show with my own original recipes, although full disclosure, I don't really cook from recipes in particular. I will be documenting what I do and I'm going to put them on blog entries at libertygourmand.com, which I'm still setting up, so thanks for bearing with me. That'll be up soon and you'll be able to find all my recipes there. I'll do my best to document them. I'll also be using some other people's recipes and I'll give credit when I'm doing that, other chefs or cookbook authors or stuff from magazines or anything like that. Usually I'll probably be adapting it to my own weird ideas, but anyway, I will give you links to those where applicable, anyone else involved in a recipe or food idea. There are also going to be vlog installations like this, and I keep looking down because I actually have notes so that I'll stay on task. We'll discuss food and culture, family, cooking, home economics, because everybody loves home ec, and health. I'm planning to keep them as concise as possible. Wish me luck. The one other thing I want to do on this channel is offer to help people reform their diets, especially people who are looking to adopt a vegan or plant-based diet. This is going to have more of a whole foods approach. This is not a 100% whole food show, and that's not how I eat, but now we do eat vegan with a whole food focus. And frankly, before I dropped to animal products, I didn't eat a whole lot of refined or processed foods anyway. So I am happy to look at a typical day of eating for you, a typical week of eating for you. You can email me at reform@libertygourmand.com, or you can hashtag #AskLibertyGourmand in the comments. But you could send me pictures of your food, send me notes about your own lifestyle, because what I'd be really interested in doing would be going, here are changes you can make that will be within, you'll still like the taste of, and you'll have the skills and time and budget to accommodate, and they will reform your current diet so that it will be healthier for you and the environment and everything else. So drop me a line if you're interested in that. I'm really excited about trying to do a few of those for people. It won't be the full focus of the channel, but if I get any queries, I'm going to be really excited about it. So I want to tell you about the concepts behind the name Liberty Gourmand, because there are a few, and the name came to me kind of in a flash when I was mulling over what kind of name would capture the spirit of all that I really wanted to do and communicate with this. First things first, if you don't know the word gourmand, it is one we stole from the French, like gourmet, and it pretty much means glutton or foodie. I really, as I said in my very first video, if you've seen it, I really hate the word foodie and I don't like jargon, but it does mean that pretty much. When I first heard that word maybe 30 years ago in high school or something, I remember thinking, hey, that's me, oh my gosh. So gourmet food, as I'm sure if I say the word, you think of fancy gourmet food, and there's nothing wrong with it. I like gourmet food. And I like learning some gourmet techniques and doing some gourmet cooking here and there, but that fact is that's not how I identify. I mean, most of us don't. Like, we're much more into our food than in just wanting to be fancy with it. We're wanting to go to fancy restaurants all the time or whatever. So that's a gourmand, and I'm betting a bunch of you are too. So Liberty Gourmand is first and foremost about being at liberty to enjoy the hell out of food and to explore it and to eat plenty of it. So everyone is welcome. All right, whatever you currently eat, I want you to love what you see, what you eat. Anything I'm cooking that you do, it better be good, unless it's something you just inherently don't like, and you should feel happy and free while you're eating. Liberty Gourmand is also a phenomenal world of plant-based eating. That means liberation for our bodies from the myriad harmful effects that animal products have on us, the massive scale environmental damage that is being caused by animal agriculture that we can be opting out of by not paying other people to create those products for us. And of course, it is inherently free from cruelty to non-human animals. So if what I'm saying right now sounds at all extreme, confusing, questionable, or new to you, I encourage you to focus on the first point and just enjoy the hell out of a bunch of food. And just stop there. But I also want to let you know that my husband and I only adopted this lifestyle in the middle of 2018, just this year. And just a few short months before that, I would have found what I just said to be highly questionable, especially with respect to health. So please do bear with me. Finally, there's a concept that I will cover in more detail in a future video. But basically, food can help heal humanity, connecting people across countries and cultures and languages and other differences that sadly more and more are being seen as frightening divisions in an increasingly xenophobic and frankly hate-filled world. Everyone needs to eat. Everyone likes to eat. Everyone has family and cultural traditions around food. Humans are fundamentally social animals. It's our adaptive strategy as animals, is basically being social. And it's kind of a double-edged sword. There have been psychology experiments that show that we are really quick to determine who is inside and outside our groups, like from arbitrary settings. Tell one group of people they're blue dots and one group they're red dots, and they'll exhibit prejudice against the other group before anything else even happens. It's like a hardwired thing. So the good part of our humanity always needs to struggle a little against some of the adaptive strategies that don't necessarily serve us or peace or wellness very much at all. So I want Liberty Gourmand to help connect people and make small steps toward making us all more humane. And now for a quick introduction of me. I'm Hannah. I live with my husband, who is English, and our 3 cats in Santa Fe, New Mexico. New Mexico is in the United States of America. See my cornbread video for a little rant on that. My day job is selling real estate, which I love. But I don't love it as much as I love cooking and playing music and Aikido. I haven't played music in kind of a long time now, but we swear we're going to do it again really soon. I'm currently a 3rd Q, which is a blue belt student of Aikido. Aikido is kind of a non-violent martial art if you're not already familiar with it. I mean, in Aikido, we never attack anyone, so you never initiate an attack. But if you attacked me, like in a dark alley, I'd have you on the ground in a matter of seconds. But we don't set out to start fights in Aikido. Anyway, I love it. I go to Kaiju Aikido Club next to Harry's Roadhouse in Santa Fe, so plug for Kaiju and Joel Nakamura sensei. Okay, so cooking. I've been cooking since I was practically born, since before I was old enough to turn on the stove, and that is true. My mom would let me scramble up eggs, prepare little things, you know, do work in the kitchen, and we had this great old 1930s stove. It was the 70s, but it had to be, you had to light a match to light the pilot to light the burners. I think it was about 8, which is still pretty young, before she let me do the stove. But anyway, she turned it on for me early. I still got to cook with heat. Go Mom. So my background with education and work, I got an undergraduate degree from the University of Oklahoma in anthropology with a minor in German in around 1996, and I almost pursued a graduate degree in public health, but I didn't. I just didn't think I was being serious enough, and I thought at that time I'd be wasting my money and everybody's time, and so it's too bad, but it was probably the right decision. Anyway, I'm still interested in all of that stuff. I did study advanced medical anthropology in my focus in my undergraduate and worked with the public health department at the University of Oklahoma on some studies. So I got kind of far down that track for a while. Before I sold real estate, I had a pretty varied business background, from working corporate finance to web design. I trained myself to do that from 2000. It's been a long time. I did kind of adapt and do it here and there after that. And print production, helping people get their books prepared for self-publishing. I'm a writer, I'm a musician, and I have been in a movie, although I don't call myself an actor. So I was in the movie Pig Death Machine by John Moritsugu with Amy Davis in 2011, about when it came out. Crazy movie. I'm still not sure how that happened, but it was a blast. I love to travel, and I love living in other countries, although I haven't in a long time now. And I'm a homebody, but I do really love to go live other places too. I lived in Bath, England for 5 years with my husband. His mother and sister are still there, so we go back a lot, and then we relocated here. My father and step-siblings and other family and a ton of childhood friends are still in Austin, where I was born, in Austin, Texas, and where I grew up. And we still visit there a lot. Anyway, that's it. It's nice to meet you, and stay tuned for some nut milk.
Hi neighbors, it's Hannah with Liberty Gourmand, where fabulous food, whether innovative or traditional, and the company of wonderful neighbors make our heart and the planet healthier. So today, just a really quick one for you. I'm gonna make some plant milk. I'm gonna make almond, cashew, oat milk. And let me talk to you a little bit about it first. On a good week, I do it once or twice a week. Some weeks I don't get around to it, but it is so much better than store-bought plant milk. It's just ridiculous. But also, the recipes for most nut milks require like 1 full cup of soaked nuts to about 3 cups of water. So you get 3.5 cups of milk. And almonds are expensive, especially organic almonds, which is what I've been getting. Cashews are a little less expensive, so I thought I'm gonna cut my almond milk with some cashews. And then I tried making oat milk one time, but it was too mucilaginous at the end of it. My kitten has just arrived on the counter on the other side of the sink over there. Anyway, then I saw there were some recipes for oat milk that called for like a tablespoon of oats per 100 mils, which is about a little less than half a cup of water. So I thought, well, maybe we don't need as much, and that maybe the kind of inherent creaminess of the oats could be helpful in bulking out an almond milk, a nut milk type thing. Cashews are also kind of creamier than almonds and softer. So what I've devised is a way to use far fewer nuts and a little bit of oats and make a really good tasting nut milk. Obviously these aren't pasteurized or anything, so you want to drink it in a few days. And what I found was it starts to go sour, just like unpasteurized cow milk, which you never taste in the modern world because it tends to go bitter first, cow milk. When it's pasteurized, it goes bad before it goes sour. And sour isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's like it starts fermenting, right? That's how we get to yogurt and stuff. And I'm not gonna go there and use it. I'm gonna make my home yogurt using some probiotics and not using my starting to sour milk. But I learned that after 3 days, if you taste it it will taste slightly sour and you may want to pour it out at that point. Who knows what's growing in it. I am gonna wash my hands. You need to have really clean hands when you make nut milk. Yeah, let me show you. What I have here already is pre-soaked almonds and cashews. It does not look like a lot, right? I think this is about half a cup total, and that is what I go for. So I soaked a bunch separately and froze them separately. You have to soak them separately because the almonds have skins on them and you have to take them off. I froze them in some batches, and I've been able to get them out and make batches out of these smaller amounts of nuts. But this is gonna give me like 4 cups of milk. That and about 2 tablespoons of oats. Today I've decided I'm gonna try using these quick cooking steel cut oats, which are in the bottom of the bag. I emptied the rest of them into my oat bin. I usually don't get quick cooking steel cut oats, but they were on a whopping clearance sale, so I got them. But so that's all that we're gonna use. So your nuts, your cashews, and your almonds, especially your almonds, are going to go a lot further. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of salt and a little bit of agave nectar in, like a teaspoon of agave nectar maybe for the 4 cups, maybe less, maybe like half a teaspoon, and maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, just to round out the flavor slightly, but that would be completely optional for you. So what I'm going to show you today is making it, and then I'm also going to show you preparing it, because this is the last of my nuts. So I also need to soak these nuts and then get them out of their skins. And I may not show you that part, but they just squeeze out the almonds once they're soaked. I have a ton of water on standby, organic almonds and cashews. These bowls have a cup each, so that should make me solid for, this should last me for 4 weeks basically to make. If I made 1 pot of it a week. These bowls are kind of good. A typical soup bowl is usually about 2 cup capacity. And so when you're eyeballing stuff, if you're just using your home kitchen things, this is about half full. It looks like it's a little more than half full by volume, but remember that as something gets wider, the volume increases. And this I did measure out in a cup measure, but so you can see that while it looks like taller than half of it, it is actually half of it, essentially. It's essentially 1 cup. Okay, so I'm gonna get these started soaking and show you that, and then I will show you making the almond milk. Okay folks, I boiled this kettle, and I'm going to start the process for the nuts soaking with this boiling water. That's just going to speed stuff up. I'll give it a little bit more because they will puff up a bit. And what I found is after about even 30 minutes or an hour, I'll be able to pop the almond skins off. Now at that point, I will need to add more water. They'll need to soak a little more. But the cashews actually soak really quickly in boiling water. So these won't necessarily need to soak any longer than, 2 hours would be great, even with cold water, frankly. Half an hour with the cashews should be sufficient. Okay, I've washed my hands very thoroughly. They're really dry. And like my skin's dry and I really want lotion, but I'm not using it. So here go the defrosted, pre-soaked nuts. Still trying not to touch them with my hands. And it seems like hardly anything going in there. And I think I'm actually gonna make a little bit less nut milk today than I normally do. And I'm gonna add these a little later. I have this theory that could be total nonsense. I have thought that processing the oats for a little bit less time might be helpful in having them be less glutinous or mucilaginous kind of. So what I've been doing is there's 2 cups of water, and you see it filled it up to about 2.5. Yeah, that's what we should be looking at. Then I'm gonna fill this up to 3.5 for 3 cups of water total. So we should wind up with just a little over 3 cups worth of almond milk. And I'm going to put the final product either in this kind of nice carafe, which is a little awkward height, but I like it, that I got at Bed Bath & Beyond, or this rather ugly container that works just fine. Now I'm going to add ½ teaspoon of, that looks like about how much I usually squeeze out, because I never measure it. I just go bloop, a little bit. And then I'm going to do a pinch of salt, which should turn out to be, like barely 1/8 of a teaspoon. And you just want to, again, that's totally up to you whether you're going to add those things or not. Now I'm going to whiz this up most of the way, get it pretty much done. Okay guys, I started showing you adding water, and I sort of messed up my really fabulous technique. I think is fabulous, where you add about half the water first, and then you come in and add the rest of it after this is really, really pulverized and is super smooth and pretty much blended. Because it's very liquid, and it's not like a thick cream, so it starts to push up really high in the blender. So you can always add more water and just mix that in. That's easy. So I'm gonna get started getting this blended. And once it's pretty much all blended, I'm gonna add the water and the oats and blend it for another 30 seconds to a minute, and then I'll strain it. You should have been able to see that even just with kind of half the water in, it really bounces right on up the sides there. So we're going to add these oats and the rest of the water. Just pop those in. I usually just use the whole rolled oats. Normal steel cut oats are probably not the greatest idea for it, but I'm using the quick cut because they're already pre-cooked a little and softer, so they should break down a little better. I'm gonna let the oats go for a second, then add more water because it's still gonna be really bouncy in there. Okay, when I'm blending it, I look at the wall of the blender, and I like to start seeing the more visible particles go away. You can do it until it's completely smooth, but again, after I add the oats, I'm kind of thinking I don't want them 100% pulverized into flour because of how gooey they can get. But again, we're adding far fewer by volume, so it's just supposed to round out the flavor. Okay, I'm gonna call this done, and now I'm gonna strain it. My hands are super clean for this step. I have my giant, horrible measuring bowl, which I made sure was extra clean. And then I have this nut milk bag. I'm not dealing with any, what are you guys doing? Any strainers or anything. And this is Ellie's Best Bigger Better Nut Milk bag that I saw Mike the Vegan use, and I just went and bought that. I think it was $9 or something. I don't know, but I think it works pretty darn well. So I love right after the milk is done, you can see that it's really frothy and it's all nice. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pour all of this straight into it. Shoot, it's the first time I've ever screwed that up. Well, first time for everything. There's the nut milk down. I poured a tiny bit on the outside, so I'm just gonna live with a little bit of extra muck. It's got a drawstring, and you can see it all just goes straight through. But then you have like you have this powdery stuff that's left from your nuts and your oats, and so this is why you need really clean hands. Scrub under your fingernails. I use hot water, like just about as hot as I can stand it, to wash my hands. Lather them up for at least 15 seconds. Do the public hygiene thing, sing happy birthday slowly while you wash them. Dry them on a paper towel or super duper clean towel. Yeah, this is pretty finely blended because there's not a whole lot of this stuff left in here. But I'm now gonna throw out the inside contents of this bag. You can keep them and use it for other stuff, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. So and I don't have compost, I'm sorry, so just throw it away. But hey, it's not a carton that I bought almond milk in, so that's cool. Okay, I got the almonds out of their skins. I've actually put them in this container I'm gonna store them in the freezer, and covered them with water again, and I'm just gonna put them in the fridge for about probably till the end of the day, and then I'll drain them and freeze them. And what I'm probably gonna do this time when I freeze everything is I'm gonna pour them out on a Silpat mat on a tray in the freezer and flash freeze them first for 2 hours, because I did this in a lazy way last time and have to break off blocks of them to get a 1/4 cup. These are also done. I think I'll just leave them soaking to the end of the day as well, and then I'll put them all together, then put them between these 2 jars in the freezer after they flash freeze. But yeah, if you're lazy, you could just kind of let them drain enough that they're a little bit drier, maybe, I don't know, and then just freeze them right in a container. That's what I did last time. It worked fine. It was just a little bit more of a pain. Okay, so I've washed my hands again, and I have some different funnels. Here's one. If you don't have funnels, well, you just can't be as clumsy as I am. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna give this a swish because I want it to pick up all of the frothy, foamy stuff. And I don't know if you can see, but this is truly quite white. It's also not like tan colored like some nut milk. So if you got a baby who likes cow milk and you want to get them off of it, which is a great idea, this might be a nice one to try for looks and stuff. Now it can have a slight floury mouthfeel to it, I think pretty much from the oats, but plus like I poured some in there outside of the nut milk bag like an idiot. But basically it's a really nice creamy one. And with all nut milks, even the ones you buy from the store, you need to give them a shake before you drink them because they will settle a little bit. But this is going to be gorgeous in coffee and tea, and just as a little glass of it if you want a little bit of milk. Like, a lot of people hate drinking milk anyway, but I grew up drinking it. I really liked it. So yeah, that's me done. That is nut milk for the next several days. I'm gonna drink a little now, I think, because now I want some. I need to chill it down. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see all my shows. Hit the notification bell so you will never miss an episode, and share it with anyone you think should see it. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. This is Thistle. Thistle? Yuck. Yuck. Oh, she's got a bug up her butt today.